Welcome to Red Flags with Elissa.
Welcome to Red Flags with Elissa. I'm your host, Evan Mack, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey through the intricate world of medical spa law. As a managing attorney with years of experience in this unique field, Elissa is here to shed light on the nuances and critical legal considerations that come with operating a medical spa. Today, we're talking about the serious legal risks med spa owners face when their business isn't set up correctly and what can happen when those red flags are ignored. Welcome, Miss Elissa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm swell. Let's get right down to it. This is Legal Landmines. What happens when you don't set up your med spa correctly? So first things first, let's start with the big picture. What are some of the most common mistakes you have seen med spa business owners make when starting their business that could lead to civil or maybe even criminal penalties?
So that's a really great question. I am a part of several Facebook groups. And recently I was in a Facebook group and a question was posed and I very gingerly was like, please do this, So one of the things that the people that own med spas traditionally are going to either be RNs or nurse practitioners, right? Because they're kind of in the business, they see what's involved. The biggest misconception, specifically for Texas, is that people think, oh, I just need a medical director. I need a medical director and that'll be fine. I already have a medical director set up and so that's all I need. No, ma'am, no, or no, sir, right? And there's going to be a man or woman. So I think that is the biggest misconception, that they just need a medical director. Something else that has kind of come to light with me being on these kind of different Facebook groups is that an esthetician is just as good as a nurse. I'm going to say no to that as well. And I think a lot of nurses are going to back me up. There's a huge difference between injecting things into the body versus removing things from the body. And there's, death is the worst case scenario. And I loved that in this particular group, somebody was like, well, I'm an esthetician and I've had a lot of experience and I know how to start IVs and whatever. And a nurse wrote, go to nursing school. And I was like, yes, I am here.
Let's go.
I am here for it. As I say repeatedly, I'm the daughter of a nurse, right? So my nursing qualification only goes so far. But when people make it look easy, they think anybody can do it, right? And there's a lot of programs out there that like, oh, you can learn how to be an injector, and I'm sure they're great and they're reputable. But there is a medical reason that people are trained repeatedly to be able to inject and or remove fluids from the body. One, you need to be a nurse to be involved clinically in any way, shape, or form. And you need more than just a medical director. There's a whole myriad of relationships that need to take place.
So what are some of the most serious consequences of failing to legally structure a med spa the right way?
That's a great question as well. I would say criminal liabilities. My job, as I see it, is to keep everybody out of the orange jumpsuit, right? If I was at my home office, I would now be pointing to my license. I don't want them to come and take that from me, right? And likewise, nurses and physicians can have their licenses taken away from them if the state deems that you are practicing medicine without a license, right? And so it's, to me, that is the biggest and the scariest outcome in this, is that you can go to jail. And I guess, kind of as a famous example, Matthew Perry, right? Like, he died
Yes.
from an overdose of ketamine. It was not in Texas, but however, as a result of the investigation, physician has lost his license,
Yep.
physician is going to jail, right? And all the other people that are involved. There are very serious civil and criminal penalties. Civil penalties, meaning that you're going to have to pay somebody a lot of money. You're going to have to pay the state, because you're violating protocols and guidelines and statutes that have been put in place to really protect the consumer or the patient. And so, to me, those are the big two. I'm not trying to be in anybody's orange jumpsuit. I don't want you to be in anybody's orange jumpsuit. And I've worked really hard for my license, whereas I'm sure a lot of people have worked really hard for their medical license or their nursing license. And you are in jeopardy of having that. That's your livelihood, right? Of having that taken away. And I don't think people really understand in general the seriousness of it. They're seeing the dollar signs, but there are other ramifications.
Yeah, I remember that kind of takes me back to what happened when Michael Jackson passed, when that
Yep,
one guy he was kind of administering that kind of anesthesia
yep,
medicine like directly to him at his place.
yep,
And it was, yeah, that
yeah,
came with a whole set of
yeah.
problems
I think
too.
that physician lost their license too.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely
in
was.
Saw jail. So this
Yeah.
is not to be messed around with, right? Like, there are really serious consequences, and the government is slow, but they are vigilant. And
Mm,
so it is not a matter of if, but when. And
right.
God forbid somebody is injured. God forbid.
Do,
So
do you have a real world example though of enforcement actions you've seen against improperly formed or operated med spas off the top of your head?
I have not enforcement actions, but I do help people that are thinking, "Ugh, I don't think I set this up properly," or "Ugh, is this set up properly? How do we fix it?"
Mhm.
Right? So I do try to help responsible med spa owners, and it's usually the people that have the medical or the clinical experience that are just like, I want to do this right. I don't want to do this the wrong way. I want to make sure I'm protecting myself, my
Mhm.
license, and whoever else is coming to seek services from me. So we
Mm.
do offer those types of plans to do like an audit or an assessment to see whether or not you are fully compliant, specifically within the state of Texas. And if you are not compliant, how to hurry up and get you compliant, to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do.
So what agencies are involved in investigating and penalizing med spas, and how do they coordinate with that law enforcement?
So typically it's going to be the state. So it'll be the Texas Board of Medicine, or the nursing board, any board that is governing a body and describing the duties that those people can do. In terms of coordination, it could just be a random audit, right?
Wow.
Just like, we just want to see what's going on over here. Or it could be from a complaint, and
Ooh.
people will file a complaint. If they don't like the dress that I'm wearing, they're going to file something with the state bar, right? I didn't like her dress. I didn't like, and those administrative agencies have a duty to investigate. So if someone complains that it took you too long to get a vein, or you poked me a little bit too hard, or I didn't like the color scrubs that she was wearing, I didn't like her attitude, or whatever, Once they lodge that complaint, now that administrative body has a duty to investigate. And if they come and investigate and they see, oh, there's only one name on that SOS filing. And if there's only one name and you're doing a medical spa, they're going to assume that you are a doctor. You're not a doctor. You might be violating the practice of medicine without a medical license. If there are two names, okay, the state just goes, okay, they might be two doctors, right? They don't know, because when you're filing, you don't necessarily have to put Dr. Skittles and Dr. Snickers, right? Those are my examples, right? Those are the examples I always give. I try to make it very easy, right? So if it is just AM Skittles and BC Snickers, it they don't know who those people are. And so when they come and investigate, one of the first things that they're going to ask you for is an operating agreement. And and you don't file your operating agreement with the state. That's just internal documentation for that company. All businesses, really, whether it's a single or multi-member or multi-managed organization, needs to have an operating agreement. And so then in the operating agreement, they're going to be like, oh, it's Dr. Skittles, and Dr. Skittles owns 51%, and BC Snickers owns the other 49%. We're good in that regard. But if the operating agreement is Dr. Skittles 50% and BC Snickers 50%, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a big problem. So it's really those kinds of things, right? Like they have to do the investigating and the digging. And if you are not set up correctly, hear me when I say, they will come and get you. They will come and not only shut you down, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. You might go to jail, and you're going to lose whatever you went to school for and sat and took that test for. It's really serious. So
So a med spa can be shut down for non-compliance.
100%. 100%. It happened within the Houston area. I want to say about 6 months ago. There was a woman that owned a med spa, and I went to her website. Like, this was after they came and arrested her and shut her down or whatever. And on her website, she just had the befores and the afters, right? Like for the lips, for the injections, for the Botox, for the whatever. And if you are an uneducated consumer and you go to her website and you're like, I want my lips to look like that. I want my forehead to look like that. I want my lines on my eyes to be gone. I want to look like that. Let me go ahead and book it. And you go, and it was some little clinic, off of some random street. Then as a consumer, you don't know that you are putting your life in danger, because maybe your friend told you, oh yeah, this girl over here does lips and it's only $30, when maybe normally it costs $500. I have no idea. I don't know what the going rate is, right? But if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And that woman was arrested. They did a sting operation, and she was arrested, and they shut her down, right? And so there was nobody, from what I could see, that was on the website and from the news article, nobody medically inclined was even involved. And that is very, very dangerous. It seems real superficial, but you hear people of getting, injections, like trying to get a BBL injection, and you find out they were being injected with cement or just,
I seen a documentary on that. Like, no joke.
That is the outcome of not doing your homework, or you go and get Botox and then you can't open your eye.
Yes. Yes. So
right?
what if a spa is found in violation, but they, they're trying to prevent this? What can they do to kind of mitigate that damage before it escalates to what we were just talking about?
So I would say you first and foremost, please work with a healthcare attorney because
Okay.
if it's not me, well, I shouldn't be, but if it's not me, you need to work with a healthcare attorney. And the difference is, I help people set up businesses too. If you want to have a bakery, if you want to set up a trucking company, you want to have a travel agency, consulting, whatever, I can help you do that too. But there are nuances that are involved with med spas or any type of healthcare related business. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if you are not set up properly and you think you're not set up properly, you might need to self disclose to the state, right? It's better to tell on yourself than to have the state come and say, why
Right.
didn't you let us know? Right. But those are very, if someone is curious as to whether or not they're in that situation, again, you need to work with an attorney that is very well versed at that, because if you are going to self disclose, we need to do it in such a way and in such a fashion that is going to mitigate um liability for you, but you're going to have to own some of it, right?
Absolutely.
You probably going to have to own some of it.
You got a piece of advice though for people out there that med spa owners who want to protect themselves legally, avoid the costly penalties, and potentially making those.
I would definitely say come and get an audit. Coming
Right.
and make sure that I's are dotted and T's are crossed and that you did it the right way. Because a lot of people think it's this linear contract or a horizontal, right? That I'm contracting with A for this service and that service is going to benefit B, right? And it's not that way in healthcare. You got to do like a lot of hopscotching or leapfrogging in order to get to that seemingly linear contract
Mm,
analysis. So I would definitely say, contact us and let us see if you if all your ducks are lined up in a row, right?
true.
And if not, then we can help you line your ducks up in a row. But again, if you did not have a healthcare attorney help you set up your medical spa, you need to contact a healthcare attorney to make sure that you are set up correctly.
Awesome. Miss Elissa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. And thank you all for joining us for Red Flags with Elissa Brewster. You can find her on brewsterlawtx.com. That's brewsterlawtx.com. Please like, subscribe, leave a review if this information was helpful, and we'll see you again.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.